Well, I'm sort of excited. I have a new project here I thought I'd share with everybody. I've got some outdoor speakers that I'm actually putting up in the garage. I'm going to show an unboxing and then an installation and hopefully give a good review if they sound good. Okay. Okay, it looks like on the top of the box there's a little mounting bracket or instruction booklet. And then we have a nice thick cardboard piece with some Allen head screw, mounting screws, I think that go onto the speaker, and brackets. There's going to be two of these, and these are going to obviously go on the outside of the speakers. Okay, here comes the good part. These are not too heavy. Definitely are plastic. Here we go. Got it there. Okay, so these are the contents of the box that I just opened. And you see that we have the two brackets there, the mounting hardware, and an Allen wrench for the screws that will go onto the back of these to mount them on the wall eventually in the garage. And a little starter guide, just a single piece of paper, empty on the back. So the speaker wires are going to go behind this little enclosure, which is sort of held in place by friction. And this is a little opening for where the speaker wire can go through to prevent weather and water and things like that, bugs from getting in. So the speaker wire will come out of here, and that, I guess, would lock it in place. And then that exposes the connections, which are decent banana plugs. It looks like they're gold plated. And there's, I guess, they're 5-way binding posts, spades, bananas, or bare wire. It says on here that these are 4 to 8 ohms, nominal impedance 8 ohms. I intend on using a Class D amplifier from FOSI to drive these, the BT20A, and I believe that theoretically puts out maybe 50 watts per channel with the 32-volt power supply. The brackets look pretty straightforward. They're just going to go in place. They've got some rubber bushings, and there's some sort of a degree showing in 15-degree increments the rotation or the direction that they can go in. I'm not sure if one's a top and one's a bottom yet. Oh, yeah. Actually, I am. And then these little screws here will go in. And it looks like the proper Allen bolt wrench. But what I'm actually going to do is install these on the wall first where they go. With these little indents here. Looks like you put a pretty good size screw in the wall, and these will slide into place and sort of lock in either horizontally or vertically, either way you want to use these. As I said before, these can be mounted either vertically or horizontally. The logo where it says ELAC, that like other speakers of its kind, can be pulled out and shifted depending on the mounting that you're going to do. So that's good for aesthetics. I'm going to be putting mine up vertically, so that's how I'll keep that. Well, these are the new version of outdoor speakers made by ELAC. I believe they came out in 2025. And there's two models, the OD-81, which uses a 6.5 mid-range bass driver, and the 81 uses an 8-inch, and these are the 8-inch. Now these grills are not removable, so I can't take them off to show you. It also uses a 1-inch, I think it's a soft dome tweeter, if I'm not mistaken. They say the power handling for these is up to 100 watts per channel. And as I recall, the bass goes down to 70 hertz and it goes up to 20,000 kilohertz. The sensitivity rating is 87. And as I had said earlier, I'm going to use a FOSI BT20. I hope it has enough power. If it doesn't, I'll have to jump up and get the 42 amp version of the power supply. Right now I only have the 32, which is going to give it roughly 50 watts per channel, give or take. So we'll hopefully see how it works out there. And once I get these mounted, then I'll give you an idea of what I think they sound like. Well, I already had these mounted, and I listened to them briefly in the garage, and they work and they sound pretty good. Every speaker sounds different. You have to get used to the tonality of it. One of the things I thought I was noticing was that the bass wasn't very filling or full or solid. Now I know it only goes down to 70, but usually there's some more oomph and you feel a pressure of some kind when you're listening to music to get that satisfaction. So with a little bit more research, I made a mistake earlier and said that these grills don't come off. Well, actually they do come off. And I'm sad to say that it's not the greatest design. There are two little screws, one at the top and one at the bottom. So you need a very, very small screwdriver to take these miniature screws out of each of these spots. And then what you would do after those are removed, which I already did for ease of making the video, I take a much smaller screwdriver and go around the edges and pry up the grill very carefully, obviously, as not to do any damage to the paint or the plastic side of this. Once you do that, I can give you a better view of what the actual drivers look like and a little bit of an input on the construction. Okay, that comes off. What's interesting here, you see the 8-inch driver, you see the 1-inch dome tweeter. It's a soft dome tweeter. Apparently it's aluminum underneath that. But there are these ports in here, which I had read about earlier, but I sort of forgot. I thought they would possibly be on the back. And these get removed to take it from an acoustic suspension speaker to a ported speaker, which will definitely give you more of a bass sound. And I'm going to show you. You take two out. I don't know. Maybe you can tune with one or two. That's quite possible. Depends on the boominess of the bass. In one of my HSU subwoofers, you have the option of putting one in or leaving them both in or leaving them both out. So we'll see how that works on here. So I'm going to reinstall these, put them back and see if it takes some of the musical bottom end back into the sound of the room. While I have this apart, I'd like to just say a little bit more about the construction of the speaker. You know, the entire housing is a plastic, and it does have definite resonance inside. The internal bracing is absolutely lacking. I'm much more used to speakers having better tightness and better bracing. But I guess for the level of speaker that this is, it's for outdoor purposes, not the most critical listening. However, it should still be good listening. I guess it's a good feature at this price point, which is at $5.99 at the moment. It was $100 off. Apparently it was $6.99 before that. So we'll see. But let me get back and get these installed and see how they sound without the little plugs in and see if the bass is better. I thought I'd show you the tininess of those screws when you take off that grill. These are very small and can easily get lost. Like I said earlier, I don't think these are a great design. Really tiny. And again, I was just using a very small flathead, and that seemed to do the job. Okay, so this is the final install. I'm going to show you the amplifier. There's the FOSI BT20A, and I'm using the Wiim Mini, and I'm just not using a DAC at the moment. I'm just using the analog outs from the Wiim, streaming from my phone. So I have to say, it generally sounds pretty darn good in here, especially for a garage. When the garage doors are open in the driveway, I actually had a very good sound. It sounded very good when I was standing out there on the asphalt. So if I'm washing a car or doing work with my lawnmowers or something, I think I can play this and it'll sound really good out there, and that was really the intention. So I'd like to share my final thoughts on the speakers after listening to them now for a few days in the garage, and with various types of music, rock and roll, some classical, a little bit of folk music, acoustic guitar, and they sound very good. They are exactly what I wanted in the garage. I wanted something to listen to good quality music when I was working on my cars or just doing things in the driveway, and that is actually hitting the mark perfectly. I will say that this sound stage is quite incredible for the speakers. I wasn't expecting that. It's like a wall of sound almost. There's a good central image for the vocalist, and then the details and the air around the speakers is pretty impressive. The funny thing is not only were the speakers brand new, the amplifier and the Wiim Mini were brand new also. So if there was a burn-in time, I'm not quite sure which of the items needed to burn in time, maybe all three did, but I will definitely say there was gradual improvements, and it sounds pretty good now. Maybe there'll even be more improvements, but it's pretty impressive as it stands right now. One of the major things that was good was when I took the bass ports out. That really gave the music some body again and some foundation, which was missing when I originally put them on. It sounded good, but it just didn't have that bass sound that most music needs. Some caveats about the speaker. I do not like the build quality. I think the plastic could be better, and I also think that the bracing of the plastic inside could be better. There's just too much resonance when you tap on it. Not that that's an issue when it's mounted and playing music, but it's just something that you would keep in mind. I'm just not used to that in any sort of speakers that I've dealt with before. And speaking of which, I have an old pair of NHT Super 1 XUs, which are an outdoor version speaker. And they were in a plastic container too, but it was a much thicker plastic, and it did not have resonance when you banged on it at all on the outside. They did not have the same characteristics as these ELACs. Another note, the grill, the speaker grills, to remove those on and off, to adjust those bass ports, that's just not a good design. Those screws are too tiny, and to think that I'd have to take the speakers down and take them back off and find those screws again, and to mount them again to put the speakers back up, and that's a lot of work for something that could just pop the grill off, take the port out, pop the grill back on. ELAC should work on that. Another note when I was doing the installation is that the speaker wires, I think I'm using a 14 gauge, and it's pretty thick. It is definitely a little bit difficult to get it into the speaker holding connections in the back. It did go in, but I had to force it and had to work with it a little bit. Also, I used only the bare wire connection because even though it can take banana plugs with the 5-way connection, when the cover is back on, there's no way bananas are going to be on the back of those speaker wires. It's just not going to happen. As far as anything else, I did tow the speakers in. I know it's in a garage, but there's a spot if I stand in the dead center of the garage, towed the speakers in towards my ears a little bit. And again, it was a beautiful sound stage, very satisfying music. I really can't complain. I can't complain about it. I think that these are good speakers if you have a location for them. Again, mine's in a garage. I don't know what it would be like in an open air spot, like out by the patio or on the side of the house. But they sound really good where they are in the garage now. I do think that based on these being my first ELACs, I would like to listen to more ELAC speakers because they're pretty impressive. If this is just their outdoor version, I'm sure that their indoor versions are very impressive too. I guess that's about all I can think of to add to the conversation at this moment. If you have any questions or anything that I can help you with, anything you saw in the video that needs clarification, I'd be happy to try and answer those if you would like. And I hope that you enjoyed the video and get some use out of it. So have a great day. Take care.